Instant Mood Improver is recorded on Bunurong country. I pay my respects to local elders past, present and emerging and acknowledge that sovereignty was never ceded and this always was and always will be Aboriginal land. I'd also like to extend a warm welcome to any mob who may be listening today.
To be around, instant mood improver, instant mood improver, instant mood improver. The songs that make you feel happy again.
G'day everyone, thanks for tuning into another episode of Instant Mood Improver. This podcast all about the songs that put a pep in your step, turn your frown upside down, and otherwise make this miserable thing known as existence a little bit more enjoyable, if only for a couple of minutes. Today's guest is Ian Shelton from the wonderful and very enjoyable Los Angeles band Militarie Gun. Ian, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Now, thanks for joining me on my little podcast adventure here. You, of course, are about to come on another adventure over to Australia, a place you were last year with Hockey Dad, and this time you're coming out with Touché Amoré. Those are two very different bands.
Very different. Very different.
Now, that seems to be something that your band has a knack for being able to do, that is fitting in pretty much anywhere. So I'm curious, what's sort of the origin story of Militarie Gun's sound? Obviously, you were from the hardcore scene, but you've developed into such a oddball little mixture of many genres.
I mean, we just view ourselves, as a band in the tradition of rock music, which like rock music is a very broad term. So we just view it that we can steal and take from anywhere we want, and that hopefully our identity prevails and makes it sound like a Militarie Gun song. So really it's like more just about being like not caring about genre. And we take a very varied amount of touring opportunities because we want to play to different types of people, like we've toured with White Reaper and Mannequin Pussy, and like it just, there's no, as long as it's a rock band, we're interested in playing with them.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I feel like it would be an enjoyable experience for you as a band too, because we've all been there where you've played shows where there's like 6 bands that sound exactly the same one after the other, and it sort of becomes law of diminishing returns, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, to us, our biggest hope when we tour the band is that we watch them and feel inspired to get better at what we do. And so we try to only hit the mark. We've fallen short only on 2 tours, but of picking bands that we are inspired by or hope to be inspired by.
It's a really fun way to select lineups. And I'd imagine the crowds are different as a result. Like you probably get exposure to a lot of different audiences, which can only be a good thing for a band that's trying to make a name for themselves in the world.
Definitely. And like with not locking ourselves into saying we're one specific thing or having a credo around traditionalizing a sound, it also just means that people can follow us along on whatever journey they choose. Like we have fans, if we played Southern California, that saw us with Limp Bizkit or Citizen, like it's always really fun for us to see where all the people come from.
I have to ask, what's the difference in the response from a crowd at a Limp Bizkit show to Militarie Gun in comparison to, say, the response from a crowd at a Citizen show?
I mean, more push pitting at Limp Bizkit, that's for sure. I mean, definitely a little bit more just general confusion. I don't think the average Limp Bizkit fan is seeking out new bands. And the people that we see that come to our shows from that, we're all younger people at the shows who are looking for something new and exciting. But I mean, either way, they got to suffer through. we're going to be there playing our full set regardless of how they feel about it. So and it's similar even for a band like Citizen. There's going to be people there who crash the barrier to watch Citizen and don't give a shit about a single other band that plays with them, and just literally try to have a disaffected, bored look on their face to show you how unhappy they are that Citizen even has openers. Um, and it's just, yeah, it's fun for us because I enjoy pissing people off. So either way, it's a good time for me.
Now, you said you enjoy pissing people off. Has the new single pissed anyone off?
I thought it would piss off more people. I also do mute a lot of accounts, so maybe there's some shit talk that I'm missing. But it does seem as though it just was a resounding, like, people seem to enjoy it. I don't necessarily think people are thinking it's their favorite Military Gun song because it is in such a different wheelhouse than other songs. But um, it just is what it is.
Well, as a man who stands all of 5'5", I appreciate the sentiment that tall people don't live long, I've got to say.
Yeah, we're gonna live much longer. It's jokes on them. They get the good looks and the height, and we, the rest of us will just live longer, get more life.
That's it. Now that song did pump me up a little bit when I heard it for the first time, as most of your music is want to do. What I am curious about is what pumps you up? What instantly improves your mood out there in the world? Is there one particular song that's like your go-to to throw on and that inspires you to feel better about the world for a moment?
That's a great question. I mean, lately I've been listening to the Joe record a bunch, and that definitely drastically brightens my mood. I mean, I'm a huge Beatles fan, so anytime I turn on the Beatles, my mood is improved. Or even better, I mean, to talk about like the power of impacting your mood that music has, I love sad songs. I love ballads as well as energetic songs, and so I can also get a similar catharsis or relief from listening to incredibly sad music like Elliott Smith or something. I think also people think Elliott Smith is a lot sadder of music than it actually is. I think he has the reputation for being super sad, but you listen and a lot of those songs are pretty poppy.
They are. Is amazing, amazing approach to vocals and stuff too. I was always quite the Elliott Smith fan. Now I want to dive in on this a little bit. This is a fun conversational topic. The idea of utilizing like something that's considered sad, and mopey as an outlet for happiness, catharsis and happiness. So let's choose an Elliott Smith song. If you had to choose one Elliott Smith song that you utilize in this way, what would be your go-to?
Adeline is one I always go back to. Now that you press me on song titles, and now I'm not going to remember any song titles. I feel like that's how this always goes, is that as soon as you're asked, you forget all of your knowledge about the artist. I'm gonna actually pull up a specific one because there's one that I revisit more than any, and Bled White is like what an incredible song. If you can't tell, XO is my record.
I
Um,
can tell.
but Bled White is a song I go back to constantly, and I want to write a song like that so bad.
Is it something you've taken an attempt at doing yet in your time in military gun?
No, because I find that the round, because you know what, it's like a call and response almost in that song. And I find that to be so not intuitive for the way that I write. And so it's going to be legitimately, sitting down to be like, how do I write a song like this? And that's what's also so great about being inspired by so many different things, is that you have the ability to look and go, that is the opposite of my intuition. How do I unlock that to like include it in my intuition going forward? How do I ingrain this in myself that it is a natural instinct to jump to, and how to like broaden the songwriting tools?
That's a really refreshing take. I can kind of understand just listening to you talk how your band has become so malleable sonically, because you're obviously approaching this in a much more open-minded and just artistically curious way than a lot of acts that kick around the scenes both of us are used to operating in do.
Well, curiosity is the whole thing. It's like, how do I, it's literally listening to a song and asking, how do I do that? How do I do that and make it me? And it's about like the band needs to have a big enough personality that you can pull off all of these sonic changes and make them still seem somewhat cohesive, all said and done. I think that obviously Tall People Don't Live Long is our least cohesive track. But it is a collaboration with our friend Daisy, who is a huge part of our inspiration as a band and is also a person who writes on Military Gun songs. And it's just like, the whole thing is just the curiosity. Like, we're looking to find the next song that we're obsessed with from other artists. And then we want to, in turn, take that, reinterpret it, and make a song of our own that we're obsessed with.
It's a very noble and an enjoyable aim, I think, as a musician. Now, most people came broadly aware of you over here anyway, with Life Under the Gun when that dropped. And I remember listening to it for the first time and being quite taken by it. I honestly was expecting a hardcore record, right? Like just a straight up hardcore record.
Yeah.
And what I got was so much more adventurous and so much more rewarding. And that's not an insult to hardcore at all. I love the genre. I love so many bands within it. But it just felt really refreshing to listen to in the first instance. Did you find when you came out to Australia with Hockey Dad that the crowds you were getting were in any way differentiated from the crowds you were getting in the US? Like, was there a different response to songs in Australia than what perhaps there is in the US?
We had a really great experience of being able to do the literally, like small arena shows with Hockey Dad, and then go and do our own 250 cap headlining shows. And it was a great thing because we got to experience, an audience that wholly had not been exposed to Military Gun before, and see if they were willing to like have fun with us. And how do we bring them in to make them feel like this is theirs, even though they don't know it. And then we were able to go to our shows where it was, somewhat of a typical Military Gun reaction with people stage diving and going crazy. And so it was just a really, really fun time of being able to do two sides of everything. Of like, we played Melbourne, and then we did with Hockey Dad at Margaret Court, and then the next day we're doing our own small room show. And so it was just, I don't know, we have very little expectations, especially when we've never been somewhere before. So we just were excited that, like, the Hockey Dads fans were down to jump up and down with us, and then we went to our own shows and our fans are down to jump up and down with us. So it was just, I don't know, just a really cool experience. We just never really have an expectation of what it will be.
That's awesome. Now, I also really enjoyed the Life Under the Sun EP that you put out. I mean, primarily because I'm a massive Manchester Orchestra fan. So I enjoyed hearing Andy on My Friends Are Having a Hard Time. But just overall, I thought it was a really unique way to follow up an album. And is that sort of going to be the plan from here on out for Military Gun, releasing these little EPs and snippets of music in between album proper?
We've been working on what it would be the next version of that for this new album that we have done. And I think that it wasn't like a gangbusters release, but we love doing that. And we love just like we like hiding our growth in different ways. And the really fun part of what that whole thing was that we were able to experiment and have it seem like it makes sense because it was in the format of a song you already knew. And so I think that definitely, whether or not it'll be exactly the same as that was, I don't know, but we definitely will always try to experiment and find our next steps of growth and try to have people understand it. And I think like Under the Sun, or like changing gun to sun, and whatever that is a great shorthand that hopefully we're building with people as far as understanding when we're just like trying something new.
I very much look forward to seeing where this goes and hearing what comes next for Militarie Gun. But of course, the most important thing here for anyone in Australia that's listening to this is that you are headed back to our shores with Touché Amoré. Now, are you longtime friends with Touché, or is this a first time touring experience together?
Been friends with them for a real long time. They started out by being fans of a band my other band, Regional Justice Center, and then Military Gun started, and we got to go on a tour with them in Vain. That was really, really cool. And so yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a reunion for us because we'll be touring again with them.
That's awesome. Now, their crowds, man, down here, and I'm sure overseas as well, are very, very, very connected to to the music of Touché Amoré. You are in for some very, very loud sing-alongs. I wonder if we might experience the same thing for Militarie Gun this time around, given that there's been a bit more chance for people down under to get familiar with your music.
I would hope so. I mean, we've released a couple songs since, and that's the hope of going somewhere multiple times, is that you not only retain the audience that you had before, but that you get new people on board as well.
I'm in Melbourne, and I'll definitely be coming down to check you out when the tour reaches here. Love Touché, love Militarie Gun. Really looking forward to seeing the combination. Before I go, if you can remember, what is your favorite Touché song?
Favorite Touche song? That is a great question. I mean, I grew up going to Touche shows. I saw them on the tour that they played their demo on. I love the Beat of a Dead Horse album. That was like what I was most connected with coming up. And I did get the chance to perform Honest Sleep with them on stage once. So I guess I would say Honest Sleep is probably my favorite. I think it's a very obvious answer, but I think it's an amazing song that has stood the test of time for a great reason.
There you have it. That was Ian Shelton from Militarie Gun here on Instant Mood Improver. If you get the opportunity to go out and check out Touché Amoré and Militarie Gun on tour down under, they're coming to a venue near you shortly. I highly recommend you go out there and listen to Militarie Gun's entire catalogue. It's a very interesting sonic journey, and you may just find that it instantly improves your mood the moment you hear it. Thanks for joining us, Ian.
Thank you so much for having me.
No worries. See you in Melbourne.
See you in Melbourne.
You there?